Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey. Welcome everybody to our meeting for this evening. As I said before, we had the recording going. Cindy won't be joining us this evening. So how about if we call the meeting to order? Casey, at 7 p.m.
Okay, I have that. And then I can take roll. We have
Perfect. Thank you.
Chair Morris,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Corrigan,
Here.
Commissioner Valadez,
Here.
Commissioner Ye,
Present.
Commissioner Daly.
Here.
And then we are missing Commissioner Wang, who previously expressed that she would be absent.
Correct.
I have a quorum.
Perfect. Thank you. That was the next question about the quorum. Perfect. So I believe we moved to Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
If we may, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Casey. So next is public comments not on the agenda. Do we have anybody here? I don't see anybody that's from the public that may want to comment. Do you have anybody, Casey?
We do actually, well, we did have members of the public. I haven't had any requests for public comment and there are no hands raised.
Okay.
My hand is raised.
Oh, we have a hand raised now. It looks like
Okay.
Gary Hedden would
Oh.
like to.
Great. Please do, Gary.
Give me just one moment to get up a timer,
when
Gary.
Casey says.
I'll be super fast, or I'll try to be super fast.
Well, while you're doing
okay.
that, the virtual background behind me is up at Chrissy Field in San Francisco for something called Classical Music in the Wild. And it was pretty spectacular. Guy playing a grand piano and the fog lifted and the Golden Gate Bridge was there. It was delightful.
That sounds nice.
Okay, now I
Okay.
have it.
Please do go.
Honored Commissioners, good evening. I'm Gary Hedden with Greentown Los Altos. And since it's November, tree planting season, and since it rained, we have launched the next year of tree planting. Last year, we hit number 311. And actually, I was very pleased that on Arbor Day last April, we planted tree number 300. And I had both mayors, George Tyson from Los Altos Hills and Anita Enander from Los Altos, on hand to help me plant that tree. I hope to do it again this coming April with whoever the mayors are at that time. And maybe we can plant number 400. Anyway, we have started the program. I'm reaching out to homeowners. I'm working with the city, Ron Reynoso, and we're going to plant some trees in Grant Park. And we're going to plant a tree next to the Lacey. And we've talked about some trees at Lincoln Park, but we haven't settled on anything just yet. But it's in the works. I'm also working with the school district, LASD, to get trees planted at the elementary schools. And I'll be meeting with them next week. We have already planted at least one tree at each school and hope maybe we can get it up to 2. So we'll see. Anyway, the message here tonight is tell your friends and neighbors and you, if you want a tree, go to the Greentown Los Altos website. And on the slider at the top, there's a link that'll get you, so you can leave a message or you can just contact me directly and we'll get you started. But we're busy planting trees. For homeowners, it's $110. That includes the tree, the planting, and everything else. And I usually use volunteers. I try to get kids involved. The green team from the high school, for example. There are other groups. There's the Scouts, the Service League of Boys. And so that's a lot of fun. I've even had Brownie Scouts help me, and it takes a little longer. But if you're patient, they will plant a tree and they love it. So it's all good. The trees that we plant for the city and for the school district are provided free of charge. We do have good donors who have helped us in the past, so we have enough money to be able to fund that. But anyway, hope to hear from you. help me spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next, we have the items for consideration and action on our agenda. So I think we need to approve the minutes or talk about approving the minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any comments or concerns about the minutes that they want to bring up? Any commissioners? I don't see any hands. Everybody looks like they're okay. All right, I have just one thing that I wondered if we needed to perhaps add who the subcommittee members are for the subcommittee that was formed. I know we're doing action minutes, but we don't need to add that. So
We
that the
don't,
public-
so the subcommittee members are fluid and they can change from time to time as long as there's no more than less than a quorum. So 3 in your case.
Yes,
So we do not have to include the subcommittee members, only
Okay.
that the subcommittee was formed.
perfect. Thank you. All right, so if there are no other concerns, questions, comments about the minutes, then I think we take a vote to see how,
Just a
Oh.
motion,
just a motion. I'm sorry. Yes,
that
please.
Commissioner Valadez, are you moving?
So moving.
Okay,
To approve.
a second?
I'll second them.
And then the vote, Chair Morris,
Yes.
Vice Chair Corrigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Valadez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ye,
Yes.
and Commissioner Daly.
Yes.
I have those passing unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, so next item on the agenda is dog park evaluation. And I believe that Director Hernandez will be taking it from here on that.
Thank you, Chair Morris. Yeah, well, I'll cut right to it. We brought this as an agenda item last month, and we the staff presented the first draft. Some suggestions were made, to make changes to that evaluation form before we start the process, and those were integrated into the form that draft 2 form that was attached to your agenda. So with that, I think hopefully everyone's had a chance to look it over. I can bring it up on the screen if it would help anybody, if they have any further suggestions to head towards a final draft, or if everybody's good with what they've read and what they've seen that was posted, then we can move forward with the process. So that's it. That's all staff has.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any comments regarding the evaluation sheet that they want to share with staff? I'm not seeing any hands, no comments, so I think we're all fine with it.
Would it help the commission just for me to kind of go over it one time?
I
Just
think it
the
would be great.
limitations of how it's to be filled out? Or is everybody just good with it?
I think it would be helpful if you go over it one time. That would be great, if you don't mind.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen then. See if I
Thank you.
Still have issues with this. Okay, let me share the right one here. It's not that one. Why can't I find this? I'm so sorry. I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Okay. Sorry about that. Am I sharing the right screen?
Yes.
See the evaluation form, correct?
Yes.
I have such, okay, so basically it's a 2-page form per location. And once again, as Chair Morris and we met and we basically set it up where it can be used, this form can be used over and over again for the different days that you visit. It's a 2 period. Once again, it does not have to be consecutive. We felt that 3 weeks was excessive. 1 week was not enough information. So there's 2 weeks. The desire is that when you do visit, that you're listing the day that you do visit, because Mondays traffic looks different than Wednesdays and Thursdays and so on. So as it was before, we had the parking spaces just available, the number, dogs and people, just to see how busy the dog park is at that time. Unattended waste, if there's any seen, a straight yes or no. Any other further comments on that could go in comments at the bottom. So that's set for that 2-week period. So you'll have the date at the top there. That hasn't changed much, but I added the unattended waste as was suggested. The other thing was the unauthorized off-leash use areas. These are optional, basically. It would be nice to visit all of these at some point. We have the date of time that you were to visit. Not necessary, though. It would just be a good snapshot to see what kind of off-leash traffic we are getting at these other locations. Once again, Chair Morris, in our meetings together, we and from the suggestions at last meeting, we've come up with these parks listed as probably the high usage for off-leash at this time. So it's something that we want to evaluate and maybe have something anecdotally to at least point to say, yes, we did see usage and we saw this many dogs. So at these parks. So once again, I think some of the big ones are going to be Hillview Soccer and Baseball because it's right adjacent. And I see them all the time. And the other day I said something to a group, but they're doing what they want and I'm not the police. And I'll talk about enforcement in a minute at the end of this, but Reseda, Lincoln, they're always out there. So these are just optional. If you can make it, it'd just be a good snapshot. That's all that is. But from the suggestions from the last meeting, that was included. Going on to the second page of your visit page, which I think we can make this front or back or 2 pages connected, but just in case we'll add the park. And then you've got the month at the top, and this whole package shows all 4 quarters that you'll be evaluating, date, time, and then the weather conditions. We were trying to come up with all-encompassing condition comments. So this would just be a circle. We were wondering about hot or cold or anything. We're just going to put an average temperature. I think most people can get that of their cell phones. So that's something that we'll look at. Just these are the conditions when you visited that time. Surface conditions, definitely subjective, but it's something that we try to do our best with describing on this scale. And from the suggestions from last meeting, we've made it a scale. So just as far as surface conditions go, if it's dry, really bone dry, it's a 1, and then everything in between up to wet. So 10 being the underwater or really, really soaked. The original condition, just to clarify on this one, because we struggled to come up with a word that would say it's in good condition. Pristine doesn't fit the bill because none of our dog parks are pristine as we sit right now. But the original, as far as where we probably started from when we first started these evaluations. So yeah, if you see it the way it is, there's a lot of grass still at both these locations, as much as it's chewed up already. That would be a 1-2. Really degraded. We will see over the months that this number will expectedly go up, but we'll see because we're maintenance is still dealing with some decisions to try to keep the maintenance on that and to keep it in decent condition. And then clean, dirty, that's really reflective of how people keep it. If there's trash around and anything, some people leave clothes and dog toys. I see a lot of tennis balls out there when I go by. The other thing, very subjective, but barking noise, and we understand that if it's really quiet and there's dogs in there and more space for comments if you want to, it would be a 0 to 1, and if it's a bunch of barking dogs, it's a 9 to 10. So that's self-explanatory, and there is some space here underneath where you can make comments. Only 1 dog, no barking, whatever, you can do that, but we will see that on the other page as well. But any kind of comments there. The other thing is we kind of added some guidelines for the other notes that you have, and this is the space that we'll have. You can add extra pages if you want to as the quarter comes to an end and we collect these. But notes of human behavior, such as following posted rules and other things like that, which we see sometimes at these dog parks. And with my history of working with dog parks, there'll be more than just, if they were rude or if they were driving fast in the parking lot, or there'll be maybe confrontations and stuff like that. So if anything like that is observed, it's going to go here. And then any other notes you have on your observations that we may not have captured in a simple scale format or anything else, a check mark format. So that's what we've come up with. And then basically the other additional pages are just the other quarters that we're doing it. So we did push it back 1 month So we'll start December, January, any time frame, any 2-week period there. It could be consecutive, doesn't have to be, because I understand everyone's busy schedules. And then the next period would be March, April, and then so on. So they're all tagged. So if there's any questions on what I've explained, I can try to answer them as best I can.
Great, thanks for that.
I have
So-
a question.
Great. Commissioner Valdez, please.
I noticed no Mary Mead. Is that because it's not a highly used park, or you don't have a history of off-leash activity there, or some other reason?
Mary Mead, did you say?
Yeah, Mary Mead.
Yeah, there's not we do not have a whole lot of reports of off-leash activity there, unless the commissioners have seen something that my parks crew have not. But part of this is what the suggestions that I received from the commission last time, as well as some of the suggestions and obvious things that my parks crew has told me they've observed. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. And I see that Commissioner Daly has his hand up. Please, Commissioner Daly.
Well, so having lived near, right around the corner from Mary Mead for years, there's periods of off-leash activity. It's just kind of random when you catch it. It's not like at Rosita, there's defined times where people sort of meet up with their dogs, right? So Mary Mead isn't quite to that level, but periodically there's off-leash activity, and it's actually a decent place for people to let their dogs off leash because it's only open on the Fremont side. It's only open on the Fremont side. So people go towards the back of the park and let their dogs run a little bit.
what I do, if it's a real simple change, is I'll just add another line to it, and then I'll leave it blank. So if there is another park that you feel like you've seen or visited, you could just fill it in. If that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And I've seen off-leash activity there too. Okay, sorry. Commissioner Corrigan has his hand up, please.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
The other,
Sorry, I want to correct that. I'm sorry. It's Vice Chair Corrigan. Pardon me for that.
that's not an issue. I wanted to clarify the 14 days a month. Are we trying to make sure we get, it doesn't have to be consecutive. I think you said that. And so it's 2 Mondays. We went 2 days of the week in a given month. All 7 days, twice a month, however that's scattered across the month. Is that the objective?
Yes, and what we're trying to do is get multiple looks at a day of the week, because like I was saying, our observations of traffic on Monday is going to be different than traffic on a Saturday. So rather than checking, I'm only available to do it Saturdays, we'll look at Saturdays, but from what the subcommittee has discussed, we can hand this off. It's like, hey, I'm only available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you can do it these days. But we do want to see a snapshot of not just one Wednesday during this 2-month period. We want to get another Wednesday. And if we want to receive more information and get more input on this, you can do it multiple weeks, even beyond the 2 weeks. And that's an option as well. But we feel that staff feels, and my discussions with Chair Morris, that 2 weeks is probably a good sweet spot to at least get a snapshot of that season, that 2-month season.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other comments or questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. So I think that's looking good. Yes, if you add that additional line, perhaps that would be helpful for the additional park activity. Yeah.
So we'll set up a time to set the schedule and for the subcommittee. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Do we need to approve this document? Do we need to have, no, we're good. Okay, thank you. I'm just making sure I'm covering all the details. So item number 3, the initial timeline for the permanent Hillview Dog Park. Again, this is going to be Director Hernandez talking about this initially.
Thank you, Chair Morris. Yes, just briefly, this is really, it's more of an update, but I wanted to put it on discussion in case there are questions. So the initial timeline for the permanent Hillview Dog Park, that's obviously going to go at Hillview, but it's scheduled to start the process with our evaluation, and which will go into the updates of the committees and the oh, I'm sorry. Where is it? The Market Research Committee to get an update on them. So some of a lot of the work that the work that they're going to start with their program will help us get information on this. So it will start with this commission. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll start discussing the components of the permanent dog park at Hillview. So with that, we have money budgeted to start the process, as well as getting in the next fiscal year, this current fiscal year, we will get the landscape architect to start putting these things together. So I wanted to update the commission on that. This process, once we hand information and start working with that architect to get this planned out, that process will take several months going into the end of the fiscal year. And I can't speculate how quickly we'll be able to get any kind of plan approved through council and then sent off to bid. But I did want to update everyone, because there might be questions even in the public. When is the new dog park getting in? Because I have received that question already. When's the new dog park? Is it going to be in by November? That's what I had heard before, in August. That was never in the plan, but we do have the money budgeted from council to go ahead and start this process. And this first step in the process is planning, and then getting the plan set for construction. So if there's any questions, I can hopefully help with any of that.
Commissioner Valadez has a question.
Hi, Director Hernandez, as this project launches, will there be a project manager or program manager that you will name or have named or have decided? Kind of like a point person that really is responsible for putting the whole thing together, schedules and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, we will, and that will come from Public Works. So that'll come from Public Works. That person has not been named yet. So once we start getting some information to hand off and work with this project manager, that person will be named.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from any of the other commissioners regarding this item? I'm not seeing any hands or anything, so I think that's completed. Oh, Commissioner Ye, please.
Yeah, I'm just curious, how is the program going right now? Is it pretty crowded for the people who are checking it on the regular basis?
That
go
from a
ahead.
staff standpoint, or commissioners, who are you asking?
From like a resident of the city standpoint.
I mean, I go all the time. There's always a bunch of dogs there. I don't think I've ever gone to that park where nobody is there. And I go random times throughout the day.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I stop by Hillview in the mornings, usually between 8:45 to 9:30, and I'd say half the time there's maybe one person there. This is just during the week, so it's modest attendance at that time of day. That used to be kind of the hot time of day for off leash last year. So that's what I've seen at Hillview only, though I haven't been to McKenzie.
Oh, and I admit, I never go to the dog parks on the weekend. My attendance is exclusively during the week. And there's some regulars, like care providers that they're taking care of somebody their dogs while the person's working, and going to the dog park is part of their daily regimen. They'll go hike at Rancho San Antonio, then they bring the dogs to the thing, and there's kind of a regular group. But in the afternoon, it's a different kind of crowd. It's more individuals and random people, not so many care providers.
I go periodically as well. And Commissioner Daly has his hand up, please.
So I go several times a week. The most important thing that I've noticed is that there are regulars and they are developing social bonds. This is creating community for us. I know people who go to Hillview every day at the same time. I know people who go to McKenzie every day at the same time. And it's, that's exactly what we wanted, right? We wanted to accomplish something that would enhance the fabric that binds the community together. And I think my observation is, at least, it's a huge success in that regard. And I try to engage as many residents as I can when I'm there to understand, their concerns, or what are they happy about, what would they like to see improved. And by and large, everybody's got a list of things they want to see added. They want to see water for the dogs at Hillview and things like that. But they all say, this is awesome. I'm so glad we have it. Yes, we want it improved, but thank God we have it.
Yeah, and I've been going on a regular basis. It's an regular basis, but I'm there a few times, probably McKinsey, maybe 5 times a week, and it gets a lot of use. Usually work hours, there aren't as many people, but people are thrilled with it. And I do talk to them and ask them questions as well. So it'll be fun to document this in a more concrete manner with this evaluation form. And I wasn't doing that as I was just talking to people and seeing what they thought of it. But yeah, Commissioner, yeah, it's been well used. Both of the parks are well used. And the Hillview one, sometimes it'll be just, completely empty, just like McKinsey is completely empty at times. But typically weekends and stuff, there are little crowds and there are a lot of regulars. They know each other. And it is a lot about community. It's actually, the dogs have a good time, but the owners and the people there are really, it's about them, and being able to have community in that way. So yeah, I would say it's going to be great that we're going to do our evaluation and learn from that. But people do seem to be really appreciating it, even when they'll, as Commissioner Daly said, sometimes people say, yeah, we want this, but we love that we have this. So it's a nice thing.
All right, perfect. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so it's a good thing. So I think, am I supposed to take public comment? I'm sorry, I'm kind of confused on this, and I'm always kind of confused on this, but do we need to make it available for people to have a public comment on this?
We do. We currently don't have any members of the public attending.
That's
So
what I thought, but I thought I would ask just in case I couldn't see him, because I didn't see Gary Hedden either. So I just want to
no,
make sure I'm not missing anybody.
Gary's left the meeting, so I just double checked. There is no one attending.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it sounds like everybody's fine with the evaluation form. So we'll move on to item number 4, which is informational item. And it's regarding in-person commission and council meetings. And Director Hernandez, you're on again.
I just wanted to give the commission, Parks and Rec Commission, an update. And I think all the other liaisons will be leading up to that as their meetings come forward. But the first council meeting, count in person, I'll use the term in person, but it's really hybrid meeting, is going to happen next Tuesday for council. So council will be meeting in hybrid next Tuesday here at the community center. So the public will be able to still attend virtually or in person. They'll be here in the Sequoia room on the 15th. Regular time for their regular meeting at 7 o'clock. So with that, there is an expected transition for the commissions to come back to in-person or hybrid at some point between now and the end of February, when the governor signs off on changing that law back into place, where we will have our commissions and bodies meeting in person again. So that's going to happen for all commissions. It's expected to happen at the end of February. The governor is going to take care of that. And so the beginning of March, we anticipate we will all be coming back, as long as that gets taken care of by the governor. So we'll have to do that. Now, whether it looks in person and hybrid, I'm not sure. That's our city council that's going to, I'm sure they're going to meet on Tuesday, and the meetings going forward in December, again, they're going to do the same thing, and that's the plan. And they'll, at some point between now and March, they'll probably discuss what that return to in-person is going to look like. So I just wanted to inform everybody that's where we're headed. But it's definitely happening at the end of February. But council will talk about, possibly talk about how that's going to look and when that's going to happen, if it happens before that end of February time. So just information.
Perfect, thank you. Appreciate that. So we get ready. Great. So with that, this is going to be a rather speedy meeting tonight. We have the oral reports from the subcommittees. And so I'm wondering if we could go down the list and see, or if somebody wants to just raise their hand and let me know how you're doing, let us know how you're doing on your subcommittees. If you have any updates, it would be great. Vice Chair Corrigan, please.
Thank you, Chair Morris. I was going to give a quick update on the market research subcommittee. So the subcommittee met with staff, during this past month, just to understand the milestones for the project, sort of at a high level, and how we're going to run the project. And then the other thing we're doing is we're meeting tomorrow to start drafting some of the questions, a first draft, which we'll then plan to review with staff. And then after that, after we come to some agreement on that, then we plan to distribute the questions to the commission for feedback, all of which we'll share. We hope to share, at the next park meeting, the questions, the feedback from commissioners. And then, down the road, as we talked about during the presentation, a few months ago, after it is approved by the commission, then we'll plan to reach out to other commissions to get more feedback from, let's say, a more representative sample of the general population, since we expect the other commissions won't be as familiar with the topic as obviously this commission would be. So that's sort of the net.
Great, thank you. And I'll just add that Director Hernandez and I did have a meeting and discuss the timeline, and we recognize as a subcommittee that we are trying to move this forward so that there's some, not speed, but some speed to this in order to be able to help make that Hillview Dog Park move forward as quickly as possible, given all of the limitations that are there with that. So we'll just keep moving forward and yes, hopefully have the questions available at our next meeting. So, okay, so that's for that one. How about anything for, I think we covered the, the dog park evaluation. Does everybody and so I'll just say we haven't met yet. The subcommittee hasn't met yet. And we will, and then we'll figure out how we're going to divvy up the tasks of going to observe at the dog park. So anybody else? Yes, Commissioner Daly.
So quick question about the dog park subcommittee. I don't recall who is on that. Who's on? Okay, Janine, good. Okay. That's great. I was worried that we didn't have anybody with a dog on the subcommittee, but Janine takes care of that several times over with very cute dogs. So, okay. I had gotten some feedback from residents. The Hillview Dog Park Preservation Society expressed concern that at one point for some time in the past that the subcommittee didn't have anybody who actually had a dog on it, and they felt like they were not fairly represented by the subcommittee. But now that there's some doggies, it's all good.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that with us and bringing that up. Yes, and in addition to that, we have Commissioner Wang, who has stated that she will pitch in if we need help with visiting the park. So we have a nice group of people that'll be working on that. And I'll add, I think we did a pretty good job getting this dog park happening at Hillview as well. So hopefully we just keep moving forward with that. Okay, any other subcommittee reports? Anybody have anything they want to add to that? Okay. I don't see any hands. don't see anybody waving frantically. So I think that covers it. The only thing I will add is that as being on the Performing Arts Subcommittee, I will be meeting with Bridget when I make an appointment to meet with her and discuss that. So hopefully I'll have something to report on that soon as well. Commissioner Valadez, I honestly can't remember. Did we say how our subcommittee did on our first pop-up?
I think we did last meeting.
That's what I thought. Okay, great. So, and we haven't met. I think elections have slowed, the campaigning has slowed some things down.
Campaigning, yeah, it really, we had planned hopefully to have something this Saturday, but both of us were just way too busy campaigning and other projects. So yeah, I think that'll put us into the winter and probably do something indoors as a result.
Yeah, sounds right. Okay. So I think that's it for subcommittee reports. How about staff reports? Do we have any?
Yes, just want to update everyone on some recreation programs that are going on. First, and actually it's not recreation specifically this weekend, but the city is doing some help with the Veterans Memorial Plaza event that's going to happen this weekend on Veterans Day. So it's a Veterans Day event. One of our council members, Nisa Flygor, is helping out with that group. This event happened for the first time last year, and it's a nice event. It's going to be at 2:00, I believe it is, this Friday at the Veterans Memorial Plaza. So it's about a 2-hour event. So that's one of the things that's happening this weekend. Also, don't forget to get your very inexpensive reused books. The Friends of the Library is doing their book sale this weekend here at the community center. So it's a really great setting for them, and it's a really great program. Yes.
I just want to add on the book sale, if anybody's actually thinking about going, you have to line up and wait, because the book sales are flooded by wholesale buyers who buy for used bookstores and online distributors. And I highly recommend actually joining Friends of the Library so that you get preferred entrance and going early. I went the last one that I went to, I got first edition anthology of Mark Twain's. Awesome. It's a first library edition, right? So there's, it's not the first edition, but it's still a really nice book. And I think I paid like $7 for it or something like that. So it's pretty cool. You should go.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Daly. Yeah, it is. Actually, I found a book that I couldn't find anywhere just at random. And you know how many books are displayed there during that event. And I happened to glance at it and I was like, whoa, $2. All right. So it's a really good event. And then also coming up November 19th, that Saturday, is our Recreation's next Family Fun Day. It's here at the community center at 10 a.m. That's a real popular program. It's a free program. And we've had anywhere from, I think our first event had 200 people, and now we're up to 500 this last time. So it was very, very well received, and it's something that's great for the community just to get out and do something here, especially in the setting of our beautiful community center here. And I think that's it for this month for main events. There it is. Look at that. So yeah, some good events even for the holidays that are coming up here in November. We'll be closed for Thanksgiving. And the day after Thanksgiving. So that's it for our programs. Did want to give just a quick report on an update for playground shade structures that will be going for council approval on the 29th. We're proposing to use Park and Lieu funds to buy 2 shade structures for the playground here at the community center, which is a top playground, a 2 to 5 year old. And then for the 5 to 12-year-old playground over at McKinsey. We've observed and actually received a lot of complaints this summer for the heat that's raising the temperature on the surfaces of the slides in particular, but just the play surfaces of those playgrounds. It is something that, me being involved in the planning of this facility here at the community center, it's something that we knew could possibly come up. But it was something that we were like, well, we're not sure, or at least the architects weren't sure. I was pretty sure that this was going to happen. But they didn't want to include it into the plans for the build. For cost reasons to initially, but I had a feeling that we would have to do this, and we have observed, and we have to do it. So that's going to go for council approval in this month in November. So I just wanted to update everyone there. So it should look pretty good. I've got renderings and everything. So if that's approved, I'll share it with council or with the commission. Sorry. I'll share it with the commission, but it's something that we staff decided we need to do this, and we need to get it moving right away. But I will share it with the commission once it's finalized, if and when it gets finalized. Okay.
That's great. And it looks like Commissioner Valadez has a question.
Just a quick question. When Teresa and I ran around the parks, I don't even remember when we did it. It was last year, I think, or earlier this year. The other really, really hot spot, you hit those right on the head, but the other one is the Rosita plague structure. It's blazing sun, and the slide there, I couldn't even touch it. So I don't know if you've got a priority list, but I know that one was really hot.
Okay, yeah, that's something that we did not observe, and once again, we didn't get any feedback or complaints about that one, so that probably just didn't jump on our radar for that reason. But okay, that's something we'll look into. Thank you, Commissioner Valadez.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I think that takes care of it because Director Hernandez muted himself. So I think oral reports, sorry, and then I did that. So does anybody have any requests for future agenda items that they want to add? For anything coming up this year, next year? I'm not seeing any hands. Oh, looks like one, Commissioner Valadez, yes.
Just real quick, how are we going to report out on the evaluations? Are we going to do it by quarter, or are people just going to give, what is going to be the process of gathering the forms, Director Hernandez? Do we need to put it on the agenda?
Are you saying for the evaluation or for review by the commission?
For review by the commission.
Yeah, we'll probably do it quarterly. But this is something that I'll be discussing with the subcommittee to see how that.
Okay, great. So we don't need to put that on the agenda then.
No, it'll just be a report out.
Good question, thanks. And I saw Vice Chair Corrigan has his hand up, please. Sorry, the screen's moving all over the place. You're muted.
So since I alluded to it earlier, I thought we should agendize just the review of the questionnaire with the commission, ideally, in the December meeting for the market research questionnaire for Hillview.
Agreed. I think three of us that have to agree to have that on future agenda? Am I making this up? I make rules up. We don't have to.
You're not.
I'm not making it up. Okay, I think it has to be agreed upon by 3. Okay, and it looks like I'm sorry, it looks like City Council Member Weinberg has his hand up.
Yes, he
So-
does. Do we have 3 people that agree on that future agenda item?
I agree.
I obviously agree.
Okay, and it looks
And
like
Jenny
Commissioner Valadez, so we have
Valadez.
3.
Okay, so I'll
Okay,
put that
perfect.
down, and then we can take the comment from Councilmember Weinberg.
Great, thank you very much. Okay,
Hello, thank you for recognizing me, Chair. This is not related to future agenda items, so if you still have business on that topic, I can wait.
let me just check with the commissioners. Do any other commissioners have anything they want added? I'm not seeing anything. Nobody's hands up. No, it's fine. Please proceed.
Okay. I want to really thank you for all the time that each and every one of the commissioners has put into Parks and Recreation. I know personally, and I dare say I speak on behalf of the entire council when I tell you that it's really important to us that our citizenry put this effort into making our city better and helping the council set policy for the city. And the fact that the commissioners on this council in particular that I've seen over the past year have taken the responsibility really of being park stewards to heart is really, I don't want to be overly dramatic and say moving, but I deeply appreciate it. That being said, I just want to emphasize to the commission that none of the commissioners have enforcement authority. I know that sometimes commissioners will go to parks and see the parks being misused or rules being broken. When you see something going on, please do not confront whoever the wrongdoer is. If you see something going on, you should contact public safety or staff if it's not an emergency. You should never confront someone. If it's someone you don't know, it could be dangerous. But if you confront someone and you say, hey, I'm a Parks and Recreation Commissioner, at that time, you are acting under the color of authority as a representative of the city. And if you say something that perhaps is not in accordance with law or city policy, you could potentially expose the city to liability. So I just want to emphasize that. Thank you for looking out for the parks, but please remember that no commissioner actually has enforcement authority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Good reminder. So I do have a clarifying question for that. When we're at the park, if we're talking to somebody in the dog park, it seems that it would be best to identify ourselves as Park and Rec commissioners so that they know, I mean, if we're asking them questions like how they like the park or what's working, what isn't working, I just want to clarify that that's not what you're talking about. You're only talking about if somebody's doing something and you walk up to them and go, hey, I'm a Park and Rec commissioner, you need to stop doing that. Is that correct, Councilor?
Exactly.
Okay, great. All right, perfect. So we're all advised on that. Thank you. All right, so I think that takes us to the end of this meeting. And that was probably one of the shortest meetings since I've been on the commission. That's one of the shortest meetings I've ever seen. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody unless anybody has any other comments about the information we just covered. I guess we'll see everybody next month and we'll adjourn the meeting at, oh, Commissioner Daly has his hand up.
In past years, we've done a little Christmas celebration. Just wondering if anybody had an appetite for that.
We will be planning that,
Yeah.
Commissioner Daly. So I will send out some communication regarding, in person versus virtual versus there will be a couple things. So I'll send that out in the next week, probably in the next day.
How do you do cocktails on Zoom? I guess everybody brings their own, right? Because I don't have a tap on my screen. I haven't figured that one out yet. That's
city
like the
hasn't-
next Mac upgrade or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the city hasn't provided those yet. Maybe that's the next council meeting.
Yeah. So great. Yes, I figured that we'd be working on that and getting that going. And I wrote down a little note based on something actually, Commissioner Daly, that you said. So I'm going to hopefully add a little something to that party idea. So looking forward to seeing everybody in a casual setting and also in our next meeting. Thank you all for being here and all the good work and good luck, Commissioner Daly. All right, take care. So we're adjourning at 7:49 p.m.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care.